Hi, today we're going to talk about what is Google Drive and how do I use it. So Google Drive is basically a holding area for all of the things that you have created in Google. So there's a couple of ways that we can access Google Drive. If you are signed into your Google, you can come up here to your waffle and you'll see the icon here. Or you can come up here into the bar and type drive.google and you'll see it comes up drive.google.com. And that will also take you into your drive. So this is your drive. This is basically like a giant folder or a file box that's going to hold all of the things that you've created. You can have things that are shared with you. If someone shares a file with you, that's going to come up right here under the shared with me, and then you'll see that file pop up right here. You can go to recent and it will show you a list of the most recent things that you have worked on. You can star favorites or you can throw things away. So in order to create something in Google Drive, you would come up here to New, and it gives you a drop-down menu of a couple of options. This is where we would select Google Docs, which is where students would go to type on a piece of paper. This is Google Sheets, and that's a spreadsheet. This is Google Slides. This is where they would go if they wanted to make a presentation. Google Forms is used for quizzes or surveys, things like that. Google Drawings, they can do free drawings on there. And as far as most of the Google tools that we use in elementary, you're going to be looking at Google Docs, Google Slides, possibly Google Forms, and possibly Google Drawings. But Google Docs and Slides is probably where your students are going to spend most of their time. So if I want to create a new Google Doc, let me show you that. You're going to come right here. You would select this and then select blank document, or you could choose template. If I select blank document, you can see it brings up my toolbar here. These are all the things that I can do to my document. This is where the title of my document would be, and this is where I can start to type on my document. So if I come up here, I'm going to name this practice document. And then what I can do is anything, well, it's going to give me a little bit of information there. Anything that I type on this document is going to save automatically. Google saves everything automatically. You don't have to go worry about clicking save or anything like that. So let me just type in here. Oh, I'm going to spell it right. Okay, so you can see I typed a sentence on there. Everything that I have is right here in my Google Doc. If I want to go and edit that, I can change the font, I can change the size, I can bold, I can underline, I can center. I have all the regular tools up here that any other word processing item would have. So when I'm all done, I can just come up here and close out that document. And I don't have to worry about my document because Google has automatically saved that for me. So it's going to get saved right here where it says My Drive. And you can see now that I've clicked on My Drive, I see that document, my practice document, and I can click on that and I can open it. And that's the same document that I was just working on. So I want to share this document with someone else. What I would do is I would come up here to the share button. So if your student has created something and they want to share it back with their teacher, they can click right here and click share. They have to make sure that their document is named. If it's not named, it's going to prompt you to title your document here. And then you can save it. Thank you. You can save it by typing in your teacher's name, first name underscore last name, and then at avusd.org. Okay, so there's me. And if I select that, this is going to send me this document. You can type in a message here. You can see this is the document that's going to get sent to it. This is where you give privileges and rights right here. So I'm going to want to be able to at least comment on this document. If you select viewer, I won't be able to comment or edit on it. I'll only be able to look at it. If commenter is selected, I can comment on it. If editor is selected, I can change that document any way that I want to. So if you're going to share with me, I would at least suggest to say commenter or to say edit, and then you're going to push send, and then that document is going to be shared with the teacher. So that would be how students could turn work into the teacher if they're not turning it in automatically through Google Classroom. When I close my document, I can see it's here. Now, on my teacher side, I would come over here to Shared with Me, and that practice document would show up in my Drive. So when students share things back and forth with each other, or the teacher shares things with them, and they're not using Google Classroom, they could come here and find it in the Shared with Me file. And if you look at my recent file, you'll see that practice document was one of the recent things that I currently worked on. And that's going to be the same for all of these tools here. So if I want to do Google Slides, same thing. I could come up here and choose blank presentation. So this would be like a PowerPoint or any kind of presentation tool that the students would share. There's a couple themes over here that they can select from. They can add more slides here. They have all the tools that they can work with here. You see the share button. Once again, this would be the same way that I would share that document with the teacher. And you can see now it's asking me to title my document because I have not given that document a title up here. So I could title that document here. And that will move my title up here to the document as well. This is where I would select my teacher's name and I would share it back with the teacher. And then it's going to come up in the teacher's Drive under that Shared with Me file. So once again, this will save automatically. If I close out of this in the tab up here, I can now see that in my Drive, I have those two documents that we just created. And that all gets saved automatically into your Drive. So most of the work that your students will be getting will come through their Google Classroom. When it comes through their Google Classroom, it saves into their Drive as well. So if there's, for some reason, they can't find their document in their Google Classroom, you can come back here and check their Drive and look for it in their Drive as well. If you know the title of the document that you're looking for, because this will start to fill up, this area will start to populate with everything that your student has worked on. So there's a couple of things that you can do. You can come up here into the search bar and you can just type in the title of the assignment and it will search for that in the Drive there. Or you can come over here and you can create file folders. So if I click right here where it says My Drive, I can create a folder and we'll say this is practice class. And I'm going to create that folder. And you'll see that folder pops up in your Drive. So now I can take these documents that are part of that practice class, and if I click them and just drag them, they will get moved to that practice class folder. So I now have my Drive cleaned up a little bit. So you can create folders here to fill up with any number of topics that you need, and you can move your students' work into those practice folders if you need to. If they have a Google Classroom folder, maybe leave the Google Classroom folder alone because that's how Google Class has their documents organized right there. So, but you can move things that your student creates independently into their folders. Okay, so that is basically what Google Drive is. Google Drive is basically a holding place where your students can access any of their work. And the great thing about Google Drive is they can access Google Drive from any computer. So if they're working on a Chromebook, they can sign into their Google Drive and see all of their work on that Chromebook. If they go somewhere else to somebody else's house and they pull up their computer, they can sign into their Google Drive on that computer and they can still access their same work. And they're going to do that. They need to make sure they're signed on to their Google. They'll get this waffle here. They can go to their Drive, or remember they can go to drive.google.com and that will take them to their Drive there as well. Okay, so just real basic information on what Google Drive is and how we use it.